to my YouTube channel. I'm Couch Guru, aka Clever Sausage, and hopefully through this video series to follow, I will re-educate in order to wake up those religiously affiliated to the three most popular religions today, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. I've mainly dealt and spent time with Christians, door knockers who came to my door trying to preach me, convert me with their holy books and their texts, and try to convince me that they have the truth, they're the true church, everyone else is wrong. So we sit down and we talk and then exchange opinions, views, perspectives, and then I tell them from my personal research, in my study, we're actually incorrect there. Someone's duping you, someone's giving you some false information. If that's the truth, right, as your state, it's established facts, it's irrefutable, it's infallible, there's no contradiction, that sort of stuff. What if I went right back to the ancient texts? Okay, if I had the original manuscripts and the original languages, right, translated into English without the bias, personal flavours added, twists and all that sort of stuff, then what? What do you got to say there, right? And they'll say, something, there's no original manuscripts, but then I present them with translation from the original manuscripts given by the original apostles, Thomas and Jude, who formed the original church in Urhai, Edessa, now by Turkey, right? And they hid them from the Roman Catholics and Islam, therefore preserving it for over 2,000 years. And someone came along like Victor Alexander, the guy who translated Galilean, Aramaic, original manuscripts into English. Okay. And he got hold of the original manuscripts in book format, Bible format, and then he translated that into English, both the Old Testament and the New Testament, as you can actually see on his video. I'll leave a link below, where he's actually reading it from this little Bible format or book format that he's translating into English. So it's basically waking up these adherents of these three religions, mainly Christianity, and Judaism, Islam, maybe later on, and other religions outside of the three major religions later on. But so hopefully this helps someone out there who's wanting to know the real truth. They may have a feeling that they're being suckered. People out there pointing fingers at it, saying, it's all this, it's all that, it's all made up, all this sort of stuff. Okay, so hopefully something will click, right? Because that's what I'm about, the whole truth, the real truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, right? So, I've been looking at this website way back in 2013, right? And contacted through email this translator of it, of the Genesis to Malachi, the Old Testament, in the original language, Syrian Aramaic, or Asherit, Kitab Asherit, used by the scribes and the Old Testament prophets, into English. But unfortunately, probably about a year later, 2013, something like that, it was taken down, and I couldn't get there anymore, couldn't see it anymore. So what I was putting up in video format, I couldn't provide a source, right, evidence of what this guy was saying, because obviously it was down. So I couldn't contact him anymore, but I found a blog that said he was in the hospital, he had some problems. He's about 60 or 70, so you would expect he's on meds, probably got some cognitive problems, and I found a way to look at that site again, because it's been pulled down from the internet. The translator says, it's because of Trump, because of this and that. Could be some med problem, cognitive problems because of the meds. I don't know. Apparently, on this blog, he said that he wanted $100 to put the site back up and all this sort of stuff. But this guy that owns this blog, I don't know. He got my suspicions because he said Victor N. Alexander's middle name was Isaac. Incorrect when I know, and it's even on the book here, the Aramaic New Testament. It's on the back or it's on the inside, and it says, it's even on this website here, that his middle name is Nimrud, Nimrud. He was named after his great grandfather. Right? And where does Nimrod come from? Way back in the Old Testament, right? They're all descendants of the Jews that came out of the Exodus, supposedly, right? Way back, that far back. I found a way to pull this site back up. I can't put it up online, so we can have a look at it, because it's not mine, right? It's copyrighted to him. I don't think he'd be upset. He'd be quite chuffed, but that I put it back up. But I've got to give most request, don't I? Anyway, let's get to it. It's not going to be in order. Maybe if I put it in as a playlist, then you'll see that it's in order, right? And you just follow that step by step. Probably from the Old Testament, Genesis, Bereshit. It's translated into English. Yeah. Okay, so the Winged Bulls of Nineveh. Victor N. Alexander states he shot a documentary at the Louvre, I don't know what's that, French museum in the British Museum in 1976. At first, his interest was only to film the great art of his ancestors, the Asharai people of Mesopotamia, Bet Narain. Then he began studying about the invention of writing, and that led him to the scriptures. He was amazed that Americans did not know about the fact that writing was invented in Mesopotamia and that Abraham came from there. Well, I have been talking with a native-born Assyrian who's told me something completely different. Okay, that he wasn't a Chaldean, right? He was a person that, with his family, entered that land, Mesopotamia, because it was all Assyrian, and so forth and so forth. Okay. So they originally got all their texts, their stories, right, from these Assyrians. That's why it's in the Assyrian Aramaic. Okay? Or the Lishana Atika, Lishana Supriya, Kitab Esher. Okay? Because apparently there's no Assyrian Aramaic, it's only Assyrian. So that's where they originally got it from. Okay? Those people out there saying, oh, the Hebrews had it first, the Jews, whatever. Incorrect. Okay? This is what. So these people have been duped, right? Yeah, they've been duped by their different belief systems, their cults, whatever. So it's like you go right back, you know, to the supposed beginning of biblical history. You've got a couple of people supposedly in the garden, and they get kicked out, and they go wandering in the east, and they start their own tribe, their own family, you know, that sort of stuff. And then eventually, all men, this is according to Genesis, all men meet up in a desert region of Shinar or Sumer, okay? And then they start building this Tower of Babel, and God knocks it down or whatever, and it confuses them, because they have one language, it confuses them, it scatters them, right? So they go along the Tigris, the Euphrates, whatever, they become the Egyptians, they become the Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, and so forth, right? So then these people write pictographs or picture language, and then they create this cuneiform text or cuneiform text, this wedge-shaped writing on these clay tablets, and so forth, right? So these men were in Sumer or Shinar. This is an Assyrian name. This guy told me, I can't remember what it was. It's not actually Shinar, it's something else. But they gathered there, right? And it was a desert region in Assyria. right? But the Assyrians hadn't attacked anyone yet. And they built their cities, their towers, whatever, their villages, whatever. But the Assyrians, as we know, didn't come in and attack them until later on. So first you had the, supposedly the Sumerian was the first language ever, right? Okay, and they're not a bunch of Semitic people, they're non-Semitic. And then the Akkadians that followed them, they adopted and then adapted their language. They were Semites, okay, and then the Babylonians. Yeah, that's where the Semites come from. The Sumerians were never Semites. Go look up history, do your research. They were Semites. Okay, but the Akkadians who were Semitic, as I said, they adopted and adapted that to build their own culture and their religion, practices, etc. And you carry on to the Babylonians and possibly the Assyrians, right? So it all originates from the Assyrians, not the Hebrews, not the Chaldeans, and not the Mesopotamian Jews. It comes from the Assyrians. Okay, we'll look at that later on, because I've been talking to an Assyrian, native-born Assyrian, that told me the history. He was quite surprised that I, a Maori from way down in New Zealand there, actually knew a lot of this stuff. So I pointed out to him, well, you know, I've got this, what I consider a mentor, because I learned a lot from him, even though he's not officially my mentor, Victor N. Alexander. Okay, go have a look at his videos, and he says, yeah, he did, and he says the guy's telling the truth. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, so years ago, about 2012, 2013, I stumbled upon Victor N. Alexander's website, right? v-a.com. Right, I started reading it. At first I found something related to the origins of the Aborigines, the theory of the Aborigines. I was quite shocked. I thought, some young guys put up this fantasy site, you know, this fantasy thing, claiming this and that. And then later on I went back and I found out it actually belonged to this Aramaic translator, and I studied his other stuff, because I only stumbled on that one page and I thought it was a joke. And I was actually telling him, you know, and I just realised afterwards that it was actually part of his site. I guess I kept going back there. But about 2013, I think it got taken down for some reason. The translator's in hospital, he's on meds, he's about 60 or 70, you know, but I expect maybe got some cognitive problems because these meds he's on. There's a guy that on a blog that claims that he's in contact with him, and he stated on it that Victor N. Alexander's middle name is Isaac. Nah, incorrect, because have a look at this book here, this translation. On the back of it, or on the inside somewhere, it says that his middle name is Nimrod. It even says on his website he was named after his great grandfather, Nimrod, M-I-M-R-U-D. So how can his name be Isaac? Yeah, anyway, so hopefully what I've discovered through this Aramaic translator's translation of his website wakens people up to realise that, you know, this is from the original language of the original manuscripts, the Old Testament compiled by scribes around Edessa, Urhai or Edessa, around 800 BCE, after Jonah had gone to Nineveh and did his thing. And then the Aramaic, the Galilean Aramaic that Jesus and his 12 disciples spoke, right, original manuscripts into English, given by Thomas, the two disciples Thomas and Jude or Thaddeus, to the original church in the East that they founded, the original Apostolic Orthodox Catholic Church of the East. It could be a different name. I often get confused because there's two of them out there. Yeah, so they formed this original Church of the East, and then gave these appointed priests the original manuscripts, who then hid them, therefore preserved them for 2,000 years. They hid them from the Roman Catholics and Islam. Islam really wanted their land. They didn't like the idea that they had icons in their mass, so apparently they got rid of them. But but they still use icons today, pictures of the icons today. You have to go do your personal research, your own research and study on that one. Anyway, so hopefully this awakens people. It won't be in the right order, it'll only be in the right order if I put it up as a playlist. Okay, it might be quite lengthy in some parts and quite short in others. Okay, but if you really want to learn the truth, then you take the time to learn the truth. Okay, so basically he's got this. I found this one. I found a way to put the site back up. I can't put it up as you would a normal website, so everyone can have a look at it, because it's not mine, it's copyrighted to him. I'd have to get hold of him and ask him, get the permission. I think he'd be chuffed. I'd pay for it and put it up on a free site, whatever I could, if I was allowed to. I might give it a try, but I'm pretty sure I'd get done for it. But it's called The Winged Bulls of Nineveh. I think this might be one of the first pages on that website. The Winged Bulls of Nineveh, where he reveals some truth. He states he shot a documentary at the Louvre, don't speak French, Museum in the British Museum in 1976. At first, his interest was only to film the great art of his ancestors, the Asharai people of Mesopotamia, Vietnam. Then he began studying about the invention of writing, and that led him to these scriptures. He was amazed that Americans did not know about the fact that writing was invented in Mesopotamia and that Abraham came from there. Supposedly, I guess if all those people in Genesis met in the desert region, Shinar or Sumer, and just spoke a language, one language, there's no indication that they wrote anything down. It could be right, but it could be wrong. Okay, because obviously the Sumerians used pictograph language, right? And then they used wedged script, right, on clay tablets, cuneiform text or cuneiform text, okay, which they have records of today. And somebody like Santa Claus, looks like Santa Claus. He what's his name? I can't remember his name. Irving Finkel. He translates into English the Babylonian, the Akkadian, whatever. Right? Okay. So I'm looking at a book. I have a book here called The Timetables of History, the New Third Revised Edition. Timetables of History. Okay. By Bernard Gruen, based upon Werner Stein's Culture Fabling. It's been translated about 3 or 4 times. It was had problems, right, and then somebody eventually finished it. And it states in this book, this is page 2, column B, literature theatre. Sumerian writing done on clay tablets shows about 2,000 pictographic signs. The earliest Babylonian omen tablets. Sumerian wedge-shaped cuneiform writing, the earliest known. So they obviously had writing in the Sumerian era, known as cuneiform. So his saying that they were the inventors of it, well, that might be incorrect if the Sumerians already had the writing, right, as stated there. And then you have the Egyptians. Not too sure where that part was, but the Egyptians, let's see if I can find it here. Egyptians. It goes on about on page 3. F. Science, technology, growth. The Egyptian calendar regulated by sun and moon, 360 days, 12 months of 30 days each. Under that same column, page 2, B, literature theatre. The first libraries in Egypt script changes from Sumerian style, horizontal left to right, to Semitic style, vertical right to left. So they obviously adopted it and adapted it, okay, for it to change, for the script to change. Okay. Epic poetry in Babylonia celebrates recreation of the world. In Egyptian literature, lamentations and skepticism about meaning of life. Okay. See, so like as I said before, I'm trying to re-educate, awaken people to the they've been duped, to the awaken them to the truth. Here in on page 3, column B, daily life. This is in regards to Noah and the flood story. Okay, it being a global event. According to this, timetables of history, it says here, disastrous floods in Mesopotamian region. So that only happened in Mesopotamia. And this guy here, Victor Alexander, on his website, which I'll point out if I can find it, actually states the same thing. That the flood happened in Mesopotamic regions, in the regions of Mesopotamia. So I've come to this idea that, okay, if there was a worldwide flood, it's because after the Ice Age, and the ice caps melted and flooded. Or the Sumerian myths where the supposedly Anunnaki got upset with their creations and decided to destroy them by flooding the whole earth, hit the polar caps with laser beam or whatever it says, and fly away and never come back. That's it, they're all gone. But supposedly a god or goddess Anu loved him so much that he or she suggested to a certain boat builder build an ark and survive and carry on, right? And you can have a look at the Irving Finkel Noah's Ark Adventure, and he actually states that from the Babylonian cuneiform text that he's translated into English. The guy's a professor, curator or studies or whatever, goes into that view. Anyway, so yeah, we'll get back to this. So he shoots a documentary at the Louvre Museum and the British Museum in 1976. His first interest was only to film the great art of his ancestors, the Asherite people of Mesopotamia, Bet Nahrain. Then he began studying about the invention of writing, and that led him to the scriptures. He was amazed that Americans did not know about the fact that writing was invented in Mesopotamia, and they had go from there. Well, according to this Assyrian, later born Assyrian, he says no, he didn't originally come from there. His people moved there, right? Okay. Victor N. Alexander soon learned that the American schools did not teach the truth about the Bible, and that's what I'm exposing. He tried to show his documentary to libraries and schools, but they all refused to consider it. He sent it to festivals, they all rejected it. He was told that the information in his documentary film was inaccurate. People just don't want it out because they've got it fixed. It's fixed, right? You have to do it. You have to learn this way. You know? If you introduce the truth, no, they don't want that truth out there. Yeah, they all rejected it. He was told that the information in his documentary film was inaccurate. Today, after 30 years, he still finds 30 years more. He still finds a great resistance toward his translation of the authentic Bible and the truth about Yahshua Mashiach, Jesus the Messiah. The American churches do not want to know the truth, and that's what I just said. They actually think that the New Testament was originated in Greek. And the Christians try to tell me that, yeah, Jesus was Greek. He wrote Greek. He read from the Greek scriptures. When he didn't, because the Greeks came later on. Okay, look at St. Paul, Damascus. It was dominated by Greek-speaking people. Very few Jews there, and he went and prosperated and preached his theory, his theology, to those non-Jews, those Gentiles. Right? Okay, the picture on the right or above here is of him getting ready to shoot the scene with the two winged bulls in the Louvre Museum. These figures are not idols. The Asherite believed in the one true God from the start. The Aramaic language was first used in Asher, Nimrod, and Nineveh. from 800 BC. He, Victor N. Alexander, studied the ancient Aramaic language from the pictographic stage through cuneiform symbolic writing up to modern Aramaic. His translation work is authentic. He has spent most of his life studying it. This has become his life's work. It's his mission. He states on his website that's mission. He's actually got a section where it says my mission, basically. Right? Okay. The ancient Aramaic scriptures are now accessible through this translation project. Here you can read the words of Maran or Maria, Yahshua Mashiach, our Lord Jesus the Messiah, in the sacred writings of the prophets. They are translated from the original language of the scriptures by a native Aramaic translator, Victor N. Alexander. The language Yahshua, Jesus, or Ishur in Assyrian, Yesho, spoke 2,000 years ago, the language of ancient Mesopotamia and the Jewish people, the ancient Aramaic. This is the language that modern day theologians refer to as Aramaic. Victor N. Alexander has simply identified this language more clearly than the American churches and the Western translators of the Bible. It is wrong to call this language merely Aramaic. Aramaic is a modern language, like modern Hebrew, Arabic, Persian, etc. He's probably talking about the derivative, the Syriac, because that's the modern Aramaic. Most languages of the Middle East and the rest of the world, in fact, have evolved from this first language, the first ever spoken on earth. That's what he states. But as I put that, the Sumerians, those people that gathered in that desert, they spoke one language. Was that Aramaic? Or was it something else? Okay. It is necessary to call it ancient, otherwise everyone can deny it. Okay. Therefore, the language of the scriptures should be identified as the ancient Aramaic. It is necessary to call it ancient, otherwise everyone can deny that the scriptures were originated in this language, the language that the creator of the universe and his son spoke. This is the language of Adam, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, and David. It has gone through thousands of years of evolution. The ancient Aramaic language of the scriptures is no longer a spoken language, it's a dead language. And the last time it was used as a literary language was in 1300 AD. Now they have the modern vernacular they use in Mass in Syria, okay, East, churches of the East, but they still use the Lishana Artika Cypriota as liturgy, okay? Because supposedly, according to Victor N. Alexander, nobody can translate it in English. There's no one left. They all died in wars, World War I, World War II, something like that. But he did say that there are old people that can speak that old language, but the problem is they can't translate it for you into English because they don't know English. Okay. So they had to create a modern vernacular so they can translate it. The translation is the only one that has been made from the ancient Aramaic scriptures without prejudice. So he hasn't added his prejudice, his bias, his twist or his flavour, as most people say that translators tend to do. Okay, he's trying to keep it to the original, right, when translating into English and the most accurate English equivalent. The translation is the only one that has been made from the ancient Aramaic scriptures without prejudice. It is made available to you from this website, where you can't get to that website, so you have to get the old Cut Skimmer or Clever Sausage to present it to you. No one else is doing this. Okay. Okay, you have to get a flash player to see these videos, I suppose. And he's done some sort of webisodes, parables of Jesus. Okay, let's go back up here. Translation notes. When the Roman Church established its authority in the West, it abandoned the Eastern scriptures that were recorded by the apostles in the ancient Aramaic language. From the start, when the Roman Emperor Constantine ordered the expulsion of the ancient Church of the East from Asia Minor, the Western scriptures were wrongfully drawn from the Greek Septuagint Old Testament and the Greek original translations of the New Testament. This is how the Western churches abandoned the apostolic faith. Only the Eastern churches and the Orthodox churches retained some of the original apostolic doctrines. Okay, so it's all Roman Catholic. So if you look at the American Bible Society and their lies video on YouTube, the guy actually explains where they originated from, all these modern version Bibles. The Roman Catholics have taken it from the Hebrew text, the Old Hebrew text, and translated it through the Germanic, Old Germanic, into the Old Latin, through Luther, Tyndale, and so forth, and botched it up. They messed it up. Okay. Perhaps a year later, it got corrupted. So all these Bible versions that you're reading from have been pumped up, you know. They're from the Old Latin into English and pumped up by Bible societies like the American Bible Society, and their lies. Okay. Internet reaching the saturation point. With every phenomenon of communication, there comes a time when there is too much content, and so forth. Whatever it is one is searching for on the internet, there are now a myriad of products, offerings, and opinions. They fall at the two sides of the spectrum, from good to bad, positive to negative, and true to false, and no one knows who's right and who's wrong. We used to say in the 60s, you're alright, I'm alright. Now it's more like, run for your life. The voices of individuals are drowning in the oceans of the masses. Words don't mean the same anymore. Languages have evolved to the point of being unintelligible, as they don't represent the original concepts that gave them birth. However, the internet is going to solve its own problems, just as other forms of communication solve their problems when they fail to be a meaningful expression of their creators. Out of the chaos, there will emerge a new form of communication. We're in the infancy of the communication age. Anything can happen. In another 30-40 years, things will start to make more sense. Origins of the language of the scriptures. There are some people that think Greek is the language of the New Testament. There's a huge amount of information on the internet on the subject. Victor N. Alexander is trying to deal with this issue now through the Aramaic video and audio files that he posted on his website. By explaining the Lord's Prayer word for word, he's trying to awaken the readers to consider the actual teachings of Yahshua Mashiach, or Yeshua, Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus the Messiah. You'll find the links to the video and audio files at the top of this page. Yeah, you probably can't get them. You have to go to Clever Sausage, apparently, because the site's down. If I told you that you have been told nothing but lies, could you handle the real truth?